regrets. Do it for the love and rush the buzz, the hush. Whatever tunes your knees to mush, the hip, the lift. Even if you gotta sift through the shit to get to the twist. The smile I hide like it's your very last line. Can never get another try. Do it loud. Do it for the loud, for the here and now.
Hello, everyone. I wanted to address something that happened in the first part of this two video series from this trip down in Oklahoma. It's about the owl calls or the owl vocalizations. I mean, I'm pretty sure that it really was owls, but I want to clarify why I pay such attention to owl vocals, and that is if you go back to the video I did about the Chickasaw Park, there are specific things about what happened there that included owl calls at the right before the two creatures stepped out of the wood line. So knowing that at times they use owl calls, or at least that time that I was there. So I heard no owls at Chickasaw Park. And then all of a sudden, with all of that activity going on that I was identifying as Bigfoot activity up until I had my sighting of them, there was a series of owl calls, very loud, right in that area that they were at. And then, after 15, 16 owl calls, the owl calls stopped and the two Bigfoot stepped out of the woods. So I have an experience where clearly, to me, clearly, that they were doing owl calls. And I also brought up in that video, the Chickasaw Park video, that there was a gentleman who had passed away named Charles Hallmark, who I spoke with, who had had multiple years of experiences in the park that he was kind of researching way before I even got there. He's the gentleman who was doing the food baits in the trash cans that affected my night there with my encounter. But in the course of our conversation after my encounter, I was actually at the fire station having a discussion with him about, his experiences there in the park, and he was very generous with his information. And he didn't know all of the details of what happened to me, but he was telling me about all of the experiments that he had done and the sightings that he had had. And at some point he told me that there was a group of Bigfoots down on Guy Sandy Creek that he said their calling card with that group was whoops. They would whoop back and forth, whether that's locator calls or just communications or whatever. But for him to specifically tell me at the Chickasaw Park in the Guy Sandy area, which is a mile or two away, he said they specifically would whoop. And he said up at the park at Rock Creek where I had my encounter, he said they use owl calls. For him to say that, and he didn't even know that I hadn't explained to him yet about the owl call. I just was talking to him about what I saw. So for him to tell me first that the ones in the park use owl calls, and then when I revealed to him what happened to me with the owl calls before they stepped out of the wood line, to me that fit a very believable pattern in addition to his experiences. But here's my point. In regards to the two owl call conversation that I captured in the first part one video, and the location where it was at, the timing and all of that, all of those instances, of course I'm on high alert because of what happened at the Chickasaw Park with the owl calls. Okay, so that part is over. But here's my point. When I'm thinking about Charles Hallmark telling me about the owl calls at the Chickasaw Park, I'm thinking out at Guy Sandy, there's a vast, wilderness, look distances. So whoops carry more of a distance. But in the park system, there are thousands of campsites throughout that whole park system, hundreds of campsites, thousands of campsites. So the owl calls seem like they would be a much closer conversation between two Bigfoots when they're in a tighter configuration, much closer together, you know, exploring campgrounds and things like that, that maybe that makes sense that the owl call things that they were using to converse makes sense in a tactical, because you don't want to be doing loud whoops or whoops across distances when you're in close proximity. So to me, that also fits the pattern that in the park they were using owl calls to talk to each other or whatever they use them for, as opposed to out on Guy Sandy. So that takes me back to part one of this little series, this two-part series. When I heard those little owl calls, one was clearly a little lower than the other. I just find that interesting, and I just wanted to bring all of this up so that it's front and foremost in your mind to think about of why I think the way I do. So, all right, let's get into the second part of this two-part series. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I will show you the locations from the sky of the campsite, the drone launch area, and position of the Japanese language bait tent.
It is on the wrong speed. Clicks the switch to 33. Turns the dial right up to 10. And he flies, leaping around the room like an eat-up baboon. Just him and his dance set, yelling, I have no regrets. Do it for the love, the rush, the buzz, the high. Whatever tunes your knees to mush, the hit, the lift. Even if you gotta sift through the shit to get to the twist, the smile I high like it's your very last line. You'll never get another try. Do it loud, do it for the loud, for the here and now. Judy's in the wrong dream, just can't get back where she's been. A second pill's just kicking in, but she slides. The inside starts to boom. A very young cartoon, bubbling through her veins, shuts her eyes as real fun begins. Did it for the love, the rush, the buzz, the hush. Whatever turns her knees too much, they hit the lift. Even if she's gotta sit through the shit to get to the twist, the smile I high like it's her last line. She'll never get another try. Do it loud, do it for the ride, for the here and now. Leaping round the room Whatever turns my knees so much they hit the lift. Even if you gotta sift through the shit to get to the twist. You smile high like it's your last line, but you never get another try. Do it loud, do it for the ride, for the heat.
Here's the general area where this starts to go up on the east side of my camp. This is the general area that I was hearing those hoots, those soft, gentle hoots. I'm just walking up here on this little rise behind the camp where the hoots were heard. You can see the creek down there that runs up through here and goes down alongside the camp. The camp is somewhere down there. But I'm thinking, you know, after the chance of rain tonight, that somewhere up here is going to be a good spot. There's something traveling through here. I mean, look at all that. Just the... I think this would be a good spot for the Japanese language tent. I mean, I can't see the camp at all. So, camp is about 100 yards that way. So I've been making my way at the base of this ridge, coming back along the creek, just to take a look around. And remember, when I came in here, this creek was dry, and I thought, what a great creek bed I could just walk up, you know, being dry. I mean, what kind of distances could I cover in a dry creek bed? So here's what I'm dealing with now. Now all I'm hoping for is just to get down low enough where I can cross it. You can barely see the light shimmering off my tent back in there. But yeah, this seems like a good spot. He says they come down this creek. I mean, I don't know if they come down the creek in these conditions, but certainly if it was dry, it would be the way to go. As a matter of fact, on my first night in, I thought I did hear gravelly footsteps, but I'm gonna have to listen to the audio. That's what it sounded like to me, but could have been my mind manipulating the sounds, you know, the way I wanted them to be. But we'll see. Now, you know, you come up on something like this and you say, well, that sure is interesting. You know, this tree with that rock there. But you know, you get looking and you see there are rocks. You know, there's rocks at the surface area of the ground. So you have this root ball that flops up when the tree falls, and this root ball, which certainly was probably a much bigger root ball when it came down, pulls up stuff with it. Rock gets flopped on top of the root ball. Over time, the tree starts to disintegrate, the root ball starts to disintegrate, but you've got this rock left up here. So you don't want to be confused and say, man, something put that rock up there. You know, certainly we could turn that into a Bigfoot did that. We got to look for natural reasons
and then go from there. Boy, if I was here in the midsummer, this would be a great bathing creek or a cooling off creek. What a nice flowing little creek. I don't even have my phone so I can take a good picture, but I like it. Doesn't work so good for audio at night when all I can hear is water flowing. So let's give it a day or two, see if it dissipates. I want to get away from the creek, looking for a spot where I can set up the Japanese language tent, because I want something to be able to hear it. If it's too close to the creek, all they're going to hear is water. So let's see. Well, that looks like a huge pine fell there. I mean, look at the size of that critter. Camp would be down this hill. So I hope, boy, if you were up here in the dark, you could really get yourself turned around. I think if I just head downhill will get me where I need to go. Downhill and into the sun. Should put me on a course to get back to camp. Yep, there she be. All right. This being the northeast corner of the gentleman's property, he's got signs posted, so I am right at that border. I am taking my first trip up to set up the log game camera and the tent for the Japanese language that I'm going to put out tonight for the first time since it's going to be dry. So I am going to head up to the top of that little rise right there. It may be I don't know, 100, 150 yards up before it levels off. That's where I'm going to put this tent up. That is where I heard the soft owl calls. So I am going to head up that way and get this set up. And then later, I am going to go up there and put the recorders and the lights in the tent, probably after dark. All right, here's a good spot. This is just going to be the initial setup, and then later I will come up with the lights and the phone place in here. But I do want to go ahead and get this camera set up, since it's going to take a little bit of I don't even really know where to put it. So rather than taking a guess at where something might come in, you know, behind this debris pile might be a good spot. So I would think that that would be a stealthy way for something to approach. So what do y'all think about? So here's the tent, and there's the log, and then there's a good debris where a tree fell that something could come in that way with cover. So I think that might be our best shot. All right, here is the downed tree just above the tent. You can see how it runs. It's a big tree that fell down a long time ago. So this would give a natural coming in. If you hear these strange noises coming from this area, you would think you'd come down this fence or this tree line, and this would give you a good look at the tent. And there's the camera right there on the ground. So the camera facing this direction. I mean, you guys all know it's just a guessing game. So I will go ahead and arm that camera. Again, there's the camera, all decked out, facing away from the tent, facing that area back there. So I think this is as good a shot as any. I want to, I got a hankering for a grilled cheese, but I don't have sliced cheese. But I do have Colby Jack finely shredded. Colby and Monterey Jack. So I'm going to attempt to make me a grilled cheese and some coffee with this cheese. It could be fantastic, or it could be mediocre. I do not think it'll be bad. Any kind of cheese sandwich and toasted bread is never going to be bad, but it may not be grilled cheese worthy. We shall see. I know you guys are thinking, you know, me not doing a very good job of keeping my food area cleaned up. A lot of smells going around. And what about bears? So, you know, of course I got my bear spray.
but I did look up, you know, the bear behaviors this time of year, and it says they're denned up about halfway through December till March. So since we're knocking on the door of January, I'm just going to assume that they're all denned up. You know, maybe these smells might pull one out for one last meal. I don't know, but I keep my bear sprays around in close proximity in case something happens. I will certainly carry one with me when I'm up there tonight, but I don't anticipate any bear activity. I don't know why I was craving grilled cheese. That was really good. Man, could just be because I'm out here and anything like this is like top of the line, but you might try this at home. Oh yeah. Sorry, that's the most joy I've had in about 5 days. So, all right, I think that coffee's about ready. Lock it down. Sorry, I got to moan after every bite.
It's time to get a log set up for way up there by the Japanese language tent. Can you guys, well, no, you can't see the, log, the tent really well. Well, that's pretty good. I'm not going to be able to read y'all's comments, but I do need to get this put together. So I wanted to at least have this set up in a way where I could be at the tent, and if something happened, you guys would be front and center. So let me go ahead and get this stuff going in here. These instruments are only going to last for 2 minutes, and then it's going to go into the hour-long quiet video where it's just silent. I had the hour-long silent video on, and I thought, well, how am I going to test it? I need to be able to test it to make sure everything is working. So then I had to download a 2-minute instrumental, and that's somebody hitting one of those bong type things. So when that goes out, there will be an hour of silence. At the end of that hour of silence, now there's going to be, I'm going to go ahead and turn this light out. So you can see, can you guys see inside the tent, the lights undulating? Where it looks like somebody's in the tent. Just don't get a drone. Yeah, it does sound like steel drums. It's just kind of this funky instrument. When I heard it, I was like, man, that's pretty cool. So now I've got to set up, I got to turn my lights back on so I can go set up the audio log. And you guys know how this goes. All right, so that audio turned off, and now it's into the hour-long silent mode. So I preset this log up, ready to go. So all I gotta do is turn it on, hit record, turn the parabolic on. Now we are going to go back here and set it up. I mean, I'm assuming that something is going to want to use all this debris back here as cover for creeping up. So I want to be able to catch noises back here. I mean, I hope I got this figured out right. So if I can just kind of nestle this in here, right there, you know, giving them the rear of this whole tree to come in. Right here at the end of this is where the tent is. So, and then that's where the camera, the log camera, game camera, is just sitting down there on the ground facing this end. It just seems strategic to me. But who knows? I don't know too much strategy, but it's still just a hit and miss game. All right, it's Thursday, and I'm going up to collect the first night's testing of the Japanese language tent. So I'd say this is about a 35% grade going uphill. You never can tell on the videos. Okay. Ah, there it is, way up there. See it up there? All right, nothing looks out of place. The camera log is still sitting there nice and secure, watching that area. So I will collect this. This is what I'm anxious to hear. See what's going on. And I will walk by the camera just to see if it takes a picture. Won't know till I check it, but at least I'll be on there. All right. And we do have one of the globes still firing, and somehow I got the rain zipper. That's a crocodile. And I didn't bring my knife to fix that. All right, we'll just leave this area as is so that I can bring things up here and set it up again tonight. I'm just going to keep using it in the same location over and over again for the next couple of nights. If it doesn't work the first night, it might work the next night or the next night. This is my last mandarin. I'm gonna have to find my way out of here tomorrow. Get into Mina Walmart, get me some creamer, some mandarin oranges, and then I'll be good to go till Sunday. Right now I got the coffee going, getting ready to make me up some eggs, and got the audio from up there at the tent last night in the process of getting set up on the laptop, so I'll be busy for the next hour and a half. All right. Day 9, going through last night's audio from up there on the ridge. Already got up a little bit earlier today than I normally do. I got up about 9. I normally get up about noon because today is the day I'm hoping to slip through the creek and go to the Walmart in Mina, Arkansas. So got my eggs and my coffee a little early, a little less sleep. I got on the BFRO website last night, was looking up Bigfoot sightings all the way up to Mina, so I can kind of gauge where some are, you know, over the years. And as I was looking in the different counties in Oklahoma, I saw that there's a dirt road that I was on that somebody had a sighting of a young one crossing the road in front of their vehicle years ago. but these roads still look the same. So I like looking at those, you know, given my location, and I like, you know, imagining me on that road and having something like that happen. So very good. Keeps me motivated.
This was the first night that I set the recording up behind the tent, behind the Japanese language tent. So we will go over some of the things. Of course, all of these noises at the front is me setting things up. And then this huge volume of noise here is the voices from the recorder, the Japanese language. So these noises here would be about 2 a.m., 2 to 3 a.m.
The landowner came down bringing me that jug of water the other day, and he saw my encampment, and he said, man, it looked like I was rolling up on a homeless camp. And I said, if the homeless live this good, sign me up. Sign me up. Got to get back just in time for Christmas. A couple of days out from Christmas, so I gotta keep my Santa beard going. I might be rolling into town when I call Mena the big city. I'm gonna roll into Mena, Arkansas, the big city tomorrow, maybe, if I can get through the creek. So I gotta clean myself up. That'll do, little pig, that'll do. This will be the first time in 8 days that I've been able to maybe cross this creek. So I've got to go on the bike first so I can check everything out and see if I can get my vehicle across there. So this is going to be the true test. All right, come on, let's do this. I do not want to take a spill. Things seem to be drying out pretty good. I mean, the creek's down a little bit to where I can see the rocks under the surface. So that makes crossing it with the bike better than even yesterday. I couldn't quite see the rocks at the bottom, so that's a bit of a difference. So hopefully the other two creeks I can get the vehicle across. It'll sure be nice to be able to make plans to get out of here. First creek. He said the creek up there closest to the shop is going to be the worst, or the deepest. Okay, this one doesn't look bad. Not bad. Ooh, a little muddy. A little muddy. But I think I can get through there. That's not the bad one. All right, this is pretty wet. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. All right, that's doable. That was not the rough one either. Ah, crap. Well, let's see. Man. Oh, crap. All right, I finally got out of there and
Welcome to Arkansas.
heading to Arkansas, heading to Mena. Went through some back roads, cut across through Smithville, And, well, yeah, somewhere in there. All right, Walmart in Mena, Arkansas. Got to get me some propane tanks. Nights are getting cold. Oh yeah. There we go. Hey, mind if I put you on a YouTube video?
That's all right. It'll be 37.48.
37 bucks so I don't freeze tonight. I'm a Bigfoot researcher, and I'm out in the I'm out in the Kiamichi Mountains right now. So check the Sensible Bigfoot Project, and you'll be on my video.
What's the channel?
The Sensible Bigfoot Project.
Oh, yeah, one background.
See ya. Oh,
Just to get that.
all right, day 8. And it looks like for the first night, I might actually be able to have a campfire. So I dug me a little pit here. And now I got to go search for some wood. Well, ain't this some crap? I'm down here looking for some rocks. I'm finally getting around after 8 days to being able to dig a fire pit, get some dry firewood. And so I was coming down here by the creek in a relatively thicky brush area to see if I can get some rocks for the fire pit. And look what's right down here below my camp. Well, that's sure interesting. Huh. Yep, right below my camp. All right, last time I flew this drone out here, I had a tarp on the ground, but it was just so, I couldn't get it flat. So the gimbal couldn't test itself because it was hitting the tarp. So I brought out 2 tables. Well, that was cool.
This is pretty much where the chatter in the tent would end at almost 2 hours and 45 minutes. And then these would be at about an hour later. Now, those were interesting. Let's hear those again. And that was it as far as that batch of noise. 4 hours after setting this out, must have been around midnight. But then you can see that there was nothing from that moment on for quite a while.
All right, I am going to gather the tent up, and I need to get the log camera. I am done with this experiment. Oh, log camera. Here's the view of the log camera looking up to that brush pile where I was getting those noises. So if anything comes around this end, this camera should capture it. And here's the back of the tent. So, man, it sure seems promising. So I'm going to go ahead and break this camera down, shut it off, close up the tent, go down, and then I'm going to try something different tonight. All right, let's see. What am I going to do tonight? It was pretty chilly last night. I was able to get into Mina today. Got me some extra propane bottles and creamer, so everything is good. But I'm growing tired of the Japanese language experiment up there. I mean, until I can go home and go over everything and see what's on the game cam, if anything's on the game cam. So tonight I'm going to go ahead and, of course I'm going to have another campfire, but down there where the creek goes that way and then the ridge starts to go up that way, kind of funnels in from that area down there. So I'm going to walk back there and put the log audio recorder in a tree somewhere back there, but I'm going to hang this on a branch so that I can easily find out where it's at, because I'm going to go in after dark and do it. And I'm going to hang that on a branch so that when I'm back there tomorrow looking for it, it'll be easy to see. But on the ground, I'm going to go ahead and put this log camera, the same log camera that was up there on top of the ridge. I'm going to put it down there with this. And I may do something that I don't normally do. I may do a wood. I found some hedge, some hedge posts from old fence posts that are pretty stout. So I may whack a tree once or twice. I've been here for 9 days. They still may not even know I'm here. Who knows? I mean, you don't make a lot of noise when it's just one person. If I'm not talking into the camera, then there's no conversations going on. So it's really very quiet. So, I mean, I may go ahead and attempt to make some noise tonight, and I may whack a tree once or twice and listen, but I'm going to have that log recorder far enough back that way that maybe anything happening in the hills that way will funnel back in this direction. It'd be nice if we get some kind of reply, or maybe something will head this way, and then maybe it would have to walk by the log recorder and the camera that way to get down here. Who knows? It's worth a try. That, I haven't used a lot of game cams. This is really the first time that I've brought them out to use them. But I want to talk about placement around campsite. I was talking with Todd Gatewood before coming out here. Specifically, now if you remember on the video about my encounter at the Chickasaw Park, clearly it used the vehicle to put something between it and the tent. I mean, that was clear. And the nervousness of it, I could see the nervousness of it. It specifically moved in to a position that put the vehicle, giving him cover. So I also have another video that is about, using a vehicle for cover. And the video I did about the creek, where something comes down the creek, I think the title was, "Do Bigfoots Use Creek, to approach the camp?" And I believe the audio evidence showed that something did come down in the water. But the reason I was even there was we were camping there, and one of the older gentlemen went to his vehicle that was parked along the side of the creek and had quite the startle, because there was a juvenile in the reeds just on the back side of the vehicle when he was going in to get in the back of his hatchback. So that's a second incident, and I fully believe that happened. And again, when I was camping there, if you watch the video where something comes down the creek, it's clacking rocks and throwing rocks and crossing the creek and splashing. And so it started with one that was behind a vehicle that wouldn't have gotten seen unless the guy went over there and did what he did. So I was also talking to another friend of mine recently who was down at Brown Springs, and he was talking to me about how there was a couple of handprints on the back side of a vehicle where they were camping. One was even wet, where something lifted up one of the ice chests that was sitting back there and got its hand wet, and had a wet handprint that still had drips going down the side of the vehicle. So there's a third instance, if that one is true, and I believe him. I know the guy pretty well. I've been out with him, so I believe what he's telling me. So here we have multiple times where they use a vehicle to come in and block, and I witnessed it myself at the Chickasaw Park encounter. So at least in that instance, I know it to be true. So if it's a numbers game, this whole time I've had this camera behind the vehicle. See the log camera right here facing that direction? I've had it on this side of the vehicle away from camp. Now, do I think anything's come up in this way? No. I don't, until I look at the camera, I don't know. But I think that's what I'm going to start doing, is no matter what, no matter where I'm at, no matter what I'm doing, I'm always going to have a camera positioned to watch the back side of a vehicle, because it's happened enough that there's a higher probability that that's where it would come in to observe camp, as opposed to any of the other 360 degrees. So that makes sense to me. And that's it. So we'll see. It's one of those things where it's just going to be a long-term thing where you put it out every time. And one of these days, you never know. One of the pictures that I posted on my Facebook page, someone asked me, "Hey, in the background there, is that an X? Is that an X in the background? Can you see it?" So where is she? Right in there. So someone was asking, "Hey, is that an X?" So I was sitting there at the table that day, which was a couple days ago. I just sat there for the longest time, eating my breakfast, drinking my coffee, and looking at that X, and just thinking to myself the whole meaning of just this part of Bigfoot research. And I just can't get into it. I mean, I can't get into it too much. I think it's a big waste of time. You spend all your energy on something that has mostly the potential to have been done naturally. I mean, this is pretty massive. You can see that it's pretty massive, but it's just natural. I mean, it's just a natural tree fall. It happens all the time. So the way my OCD mind works, it got me thinking while I was sitting there, just thinking about this X figure here, X pattern. Let's just say there's a Bigfoot on the other side of this field. looks across here, sees that X, and is like, oh my God, there's a huge Bigfoot that lives over there. I'm not going over there. So why would they use a form of communication that is so easily replicated by nature? There's too much room for misreading messages, because you can find X's all over the place. You can find all kinds of the way trees blow in the wind and bend over and then get caught in one another, and everybody seems to think, oh, I know what a bow looks like, and I know, you know, because it's weaved in here and weaved in there. Clearly, the dynamics of straight line winds and microbursts and, you know, and twisters and tornadoes and hurricanes, we have a better understanding of these things now than way in the past. We didn't have any understanding of them. Now we've got all of these doorbell videos that can look out in the yard as the tornadoes are hitting, and you just see these trees laying sideways and standing back up and twisting and turning. For instance, remember everybody seems to think, and I hear it every so often, it'll pop back up, oh, you know, a piece of straw can get flung in a tornado or a hurricane so fast with so much velocity it'll kill you. It'll shoot through you like a bullet. Because one time somebody has a picture of one in the side of a wooden telephone pole. Well, I can tell you right now, it didn't get shot through there. What happened was, in these huge tornadoes, or you will see the undulation and the twisting and the opening up of the fibers of these things. They will open up, and you've got debris flying in the wind all the time, whether it's straw, hay, grass. Think of the wind just tearing around, and anything on the ground is just blowing in there. So when one of these trees twists open, these seams open up, and a couple of shards of grass get stuck in there, and then it closes back up on the grass. Then the next day, all you see is the aftermath. You go in there and you see this grass sticking out of the tree, and you're like, oh my God, the wind thrust it in there like a dagger. That's not the case. I mean, we just have to be logical. So when it comes to tree manipulation and the things that nature is capable of doing to these trees, it doesn't seem to me to be a logical form of communication for these things, because you can walk down any path and see these same structures done naturally. And how can they know which one's real? Which one's natural, which one's done by another Bigfoot, and which one is just by nature? So I have to lean that they're all by nature. Okay, let's go from camp and set up this recorder log in a new location. I tied some pipe cleaners, some orange pipe cleaners on a tree to make it easier for me to get back where I need to be. Let's see if I can navigate that way by using the pipe cleaners. Yep, I see the first one. I made it to where you go to the first pipe cleaner, and then you should be able to see the second one from there and keep working in that trajectory. A lot of stickers. All right, pipe cleaner one. And there's the other pipe cleaner up there. I figured I'd be doing this after dark, so tried to make it as easily navigable as possible. All right, so here's the other one. The other one is uphill from there. You can barely see it up there at the crest. All right, this was the third one, and then further up you can see where I hung that string with the white pieces of paper. I wanted to be far enough away from the creek that I don't have to listen to the water running, but I wanted to be able to catch anything coming along this side of the creek towards camp. And the leaves are pretty dry at this point, so anything walking through the leaves you should be able to hear. So there's my string. That way it's easy to find. And where do I want to put it? Just beyond. Oh. I do not see a good spot. Well, right here might work. This might work. All right, let's arm the mechanism. Let's set the timer for the bomb. Nope, that won't work. Hey, that might work. Yeah, that'll work. Now, we're gonna arm this one and set it up. Got 10 seconds. 10 seconds to set it up. Let's set her right there. All right, camera log, audio log. Location beacon. All right. Let's get out of here. Tonight's going to be even colder than it was last night, so gotta get the Gotta get the warm daddies on. Yeah. The bibs. I should have wore these all along going through the woods. Them briars wouldn't be eating me up if I'd had these on. All right. Well, other than a few recorded things, the activity has not been stellar in this 10 days. So now I've resorted to having to hit trees. I'm having to hit trees for a living. Well, it is a little chilly this morning. This will be probably my last cup of coffee because I will be packing up today and heading home. get this coffee done, go collect the audio log and the camcorder and the game cam that's out, and then we can call this a wrap. Burning out the last of the firewood. Got my breakfast table set up. It has begun.
On the wrong speed, clicks the switch to 33, turns the dial right up to 10, and he flies, leaping around the room like an eat-up baboon. His dance, yelling, I have no regrets. Do it for the love and rush the buzz, the hype. Whatever tunes your knees to push the
What's going on? Hey! Hey! Oh! 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 Okay! Oh, yes! Oh, yes! Oh, yeah. I'm home. It's only been 10 days. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh. Both of you, yes. Oh. 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 Okie doke, yes. Oh. All right, this is the last night's audio where I was doing tree knocks. So at about 15 minutes, probably 10 o'clock at night, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the last knock that I did. And I believe I went to bed about 11 o'clock. So there was just a couple of hours where I was doing the knocks. I really didn't expect anything to come of it. This was day 10, so I was a bit surprised when I listened to this recording, and a couple hours after that, or a few hours after that, I got a recording on here that sounds like a distant roar. Now, bear with me, because here's what I think may and could have happened, and that is the knocks may have made something interested, came down in, was waiting for another knock, never got another knock. So after a couple hours of searching around trying to find out where the knocks were coming from, and I'd already gone to sleep, it decided to let out a little roar.